So yes, I am an herbalist. I'm a mother of 3. I do homeschool. A very simple way though, like I'm not there teaching all the time, but we have livestock. So we have horses and we deal with cows and chickens and turkeys and dogs and horses, or cats. So that keeps us at home. But being an herbalist, it was interesting. Last summer, a friend of mine gave me a call and she asked me what I know about the hops plant. And I said, really, what do you want to know? I can tell you everything. And then she said, not much, but I want to know if you know anything about the mature hops extract. And I said, that doesn't even exist. She's like, yes, it does. So she started pouring me with information about this product. And since then, I've literally digested every video from every doctor, every naturopath, other herbalists that have come on part here. And this is my understanding. This is what information I have compiled. Hey, Sonia, how's it going? How it works in the human body. So as an herbalist, my goal is to put people's bodies into homeostasis. And when you understand what homeostasis is or does, all of the science behind how a product works, the experience that people have on it, the amazing testimonies that you keep reading here are all because of homeostasis. And getting a person's body into homeostasis sometimes is more difficult than others, but because we have a very simple product that does that for us, that's where all this stuff's coming from. So in a nutshell, this is how I share it with people. The mature hops extract is 3 bitter acids. These 3 bitter acids is what completely separates it from any other herb out there. So if you're going to compare it to just hops, hops is a phytoestrogen just from the flower of the product or of the herb, and it is literally either dried down or there's a lot of different extraction processes of just pure hops. But I can tell you as an herbalist, we use different parts of the plant for different issues, you know, so because there's different compounds of chemicals in these plants that give us different results. So understanding that part of it is why I'm so animate to start how I share why there's so many differences. You know, everyone wants to look up hops and then they start going down the rabbit hole and then they're like, it does this, it does that. I'm like, it's not this. We're not doing the hops train. You can get that from Amazon. You can drink it in your beer, except, did you hear this, Nikki, that you'd have to drink 93 beers.
Right.
To get the amount of benefit. Like, that's crazy. But just know this has nothing to do with beer. It's just a funny joke.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah. But just know this has nothing to do with beer. And yes, it still comes from the hops, but it's the mature hops, 3 bitter acids. And here's the beautiful thing. Even though we didn't get this product in our hands until last year, it was actually available to us because it started in 1953. It was discovered in 1953, and then all the clinical trials were done on it. So that was super important for me. The fact that I could see what the human trials did and when it showed, it burned visceral fat. Visceral fat is the bad fat that hangs out around all the organs, under the skin. And here's the thing. When your body takes in toxins throughout the day, the air you breathe, the food you eat, the water you drink are all full of toxins. And toxins getting into the body creates what? Inflammation. But when your body gets toxins, your body doesn't know what to do with them, so it stores them in visceral fat. So when your body is storing all these toxins in the visceral fat, this product burns the visceral fat. Your body then in turn is also releasing inflammation. So understanding root cause issues. Toxins come in, inflammation is then formed. Inflammation gives birth to different symptoms. Every single person has different DNA makeup. So these symptoms, you're going to go to the doctor and say, I have XYZ symptoms. They're going to then compile those symptoms rather with verbiage or blood tests or urine tests, and then they're going to give you a diagnosis or a illness name, right? So when you go back to the root cause, getting rid of the inflammation and then getting rid of the toxins. So this is where our bodies are creating the homeostasis. You're burning this visceral fat, releasing all of the toxins, right? And then you're going to have all these amazing results. So when somebody asks me, is it going to help them with XYZ issue? Okay, let's go to the root cause. Like, whatever caused that for you, just understand that in time, this is what's going to happen. Is it going to happen right away? Some people do. Does it happen in a couple days, couple weeks, couple months? For some people, it does. There's so many receptors throughout the body that it takes time for them to heal. So let's talk about that part of it. So we talked about the visceral fat and releasing of toxins. So these 3 bitter acids, when you swallow them, everybody knows to put it in some kind of beverage. You swallow it. It activates the bitter receptors in your tongue, in your digestive system. and in turn activates the largest cranial nerve in the entire body called the vagus nerve. Most people have heard about it in this group. If you haven't, it is the brain-gut connection. It connects every organ, every system in the entire body, and this is what is so dynamic. Most of those people don't get or ever hear of cranial nerve or gut-brain axis or even the vagus nerve. And they're like, how do you activate that? Well, you can either cold plunge, you can do a lot of breath work, a lot of meditation. This has literally been the most simple thing for anybody to activate that vagus nerve. And when your vagus nerve is activated, you're then in turn creating balance. One of the major systems in the body that gets activated is the parasympathetic nervous system. That is the system that keeps us in or out of fight or flight. Every single human on this planet is in a constant state of stress. We all know it. Do you ever hear like the silent killer is stress? Well, that's humans for you. You know, we wake up and we're late for work, we're late for school, we're getting our spouses ready, we're getting our partners ready, our children, our dogs, our cats, our horses, our cows, our chickens, whatever your life is, you have daily stresses. And if you wake up and that fight or flight is activated, you're there all day long. But what if you were to take a product called Fix and it activates a different system called the parasympathetic nervous system? You're able to handle all of those daily stresses. Life is still there, but you're going to be able to handle them in a way that your body responds in a different way. You hear a lot of people talk about getting rid of mom or dad rage, or, you know, I could go down the road on the highway, get late for work, and I wasn't exploding or honking my horn as I'm going to work. This is why. This is why. So because of this vagus nerve activation, we're balancing out all of our hormones. Right away, people are like estrogen, testosterone. Well, let's talk about CCK hormone, the GLP-1 hormone, your estrogen, your testosterone, your progesterone, your ghrelin, your leptin, your cortisol, and there's so many more. Those are the most common. And they're being balanced because there's 3 glands that get supported. Your thyroid, your pituitary, and your pineal gland are all responsible for the secretion of hormones. And then when they're supported because of the vagus nerve activation, your body knows when and where to release these hormones. And this is why a lot of people are having dramatic success. You know, women later on in life, men later on in life, whatever it may be, women in certain parts of their cycle are having huge success because their hormones are getting balanced out. So in turn, when you understand all of the modalities of this, it has caused people to have every testimonial under the sun. Everybody's like, that's snake oil. Well, guess what? Hello, snake oil. This is it. Like, this is it, because it literally just said I was approved in your test group. Sorry, it's so funny. Oh gosh, sorry. This is life.
We spent a half an hour in a test group trying to figure this thing out.
So this is why, like, people are having experience with this, and you know, they're like, this is snake oil. Well, first of all, it's never been around. Our company is the first company to ever have it. In fact, on April 20th in 2024, the owner of our company got a phone call from a microbiologist and said, I have this extraction. I do pharmacies. You do natural stuff. What do I do with it? And he said, hello, that was the answer to prayer that I just prayed 2 days ago. There's so much to this product with the hand of God. I mean, you can be wherever you are religious, you know, I'm not judging, but for me, and I know for Nikki, we share the same passion and the same guidance. And it starts from the top. He had a vision for these snaps. I usually have them with me. He had a vision for these snaps because he owns the machines. Then they came to fruition. And then they're getting people like us who have a wrecked and havoc background, you know. Yes, we look like we have stuff put together, but we're just normal humans that latched onto a product that had dramatic results for us. So my results, okay? So when you understand visceral fat, by the way, if you look up visceral fat, did you know it's responsible for over 200 different diseases? 200! That's insanity. We're talking big stuff, big stuff. So getting rid of all that junk in the body, most people experience 5 things right when they get started. They're sleeping better. They have more energy. They have more focus, less brain fog, better digestion. And the last thing I always say is they're just happy. So what did I have? So I'm 45 years old. I started perimenopause, having horrific night sweats, really bad, heavy periods. We're all human here. You can hear about it if you're a guy, close your ears. But that's part of life. And, you know, I have a lot of stuff that I do. So I'm very active. And so for me to be like chair ridden for a couple of days every month was not fun. In walked Fixed in October of last year for myself. I'm going to tell you like a little bit of a business side. I was financially not able to do this. Like it was in a very bad state. And so I saw the power of this product. I started to understand it. I saw what it could do for myself and for people that I know. You know, people think right away, oh, she's an herbalist. She has a plethora of people that she could reach out to and build a business with. No, I don't. I do have customers, but I'm just like you, I'm human. I still got to reach out to them and share. So I did. I got on, and my results were pretty cool. I was sleeping through the night. Night sweats were alleviated. I no longer was having a heavy menstrual cycle, you know, month 2, month 3. It was crazy for me. Hello, libido. Any women out there struggle with low libido? We've heard several men are probably more shy, but we've heard them on private calls where they're talking about they've also had an issue with their libido, that a little blue pill is what they needed to use in order for them to be able to be intimate with their wife. So that is huge when people can come in here, take a little product that helps their body out so much and can alleviate a lot of unnecessary chemicals that they need to put in their body. So not only that, I mean, I've lost 7 inches off my waist. I mean, I had a really swollen, inflamed waist because I was diagnosed with several different digestive issues years ago. This was 20 plus years ago, and this is what started me on my health journey. And I no longer have those digestive issues, those flare up. Wow. So now talking about my husband, now he's 58. Again, we've been in livestock. We've come off horses, he's been rammed by I don't know how many different steers. You know, it's a lot of life happened to us dealing with animals, big animals. And a year ago today, we had to have an MRI, and an MRI diagnosed him with 3 herniated discs, a bulging disc, several degenerative discs, and arthritic spots all throughout his spine. He was literally a walking ball of discomfort. And it was like me getting him out of bed, putting his socks and shoes. And as an herbalist, I'm giving him every legal and unlegal herb that I could find to try to alleviate that level of hurt. And he was getting some, you know, relief. But then in October, when we started this, I'll never forget, you know, you start to live with it. Anybody on here ever just live with a level of discomfort or hurt in their body, stiffness in their body, and it's like, this is the way it's going to be the rest of my life? Yeah. It's crazy. It's debilitating. It's going to bed at night crying yourself to sleep. That was me because I didn't feel good and I just wanted to feel good. So he was helping me with our horses at the end of our November-ish. So we were on it about a month and a half. And I noticed he picked a saddle up and swung it. And I'm like, hello? Like, how are you doing that without having any issues? He's like, oh my gosh. It literally sneaks up on you because you weren't looking for it. And until this day, he's not having those issues anymore. Hello, can you say praise the Lord? You know, for something that's actually working. So did he lose weight too? Yes, he actually lost 27 pounds. Every person that sees him is like, what on earth are you doing? And on top of that, Nikki, we don't lift weights. I know we should. We're at that age that, you know, bone density is there. You got to work on it. And we measured his biceps. He gained an inch in both biceps. An inch. And I'm like, we're not doing anything. And I just heard from my daughter this morning, her husband, now they're much younger, obviously, you know, they're in their early 20s, and he's one of those guys that's very, very thin. He has a hard time putting weight on him, but he can eat everything under the sun, and he's like the stickiest stick figure there is, right? They've been using Fix for a month, and he's put on 5 pounds.
Wow.
I know.
That's really interesting because a lot of people ask, what if I don't need to lose weight? Am I still going to lose weight? And I actually don't know the answer to that, but that's really cool hearing you say that.
Yes. So the answer is homeostasis.
Yes.
When somebody asks me any XYZ issue, and I'm like, homeostasis, like that's where you're going to heal whatever issue is. So whatever issue was holding him back, you know, he took this and now he's 5 pounds of pure muscle. Like you wouldn't even, and he's not working out, by the way.
Yeah.
He's literally not working out, has not changed anything in his entire diet, but he's put it on and you can tell he's filling out.
Yeah.
So it literally does both ways. And he's excited because he was always embarrassed by how thin he was. You know, it's not fun. You want to look good for your spouse. I mean, he's a great guy. He's good looking, but he's skinny. So, you know, there's all of that stuff. And then last thing I'll say is this. We have a horse here that foundered, and if you don't know about founder, it's when they have an issue with their thyroid gland, and so it makes their feet really hurt really bad. They can't walk. So we put him on Fix, and within 2 weeks, he was running around like there was no issues. And I just gave him a full dose. So every mammal, I don't care if it's a cat or a dog or a bird, I don't care, mammal can take this because it'll do the same thing in their body for sure.
Wow. Okay, that's really cool. I know people are going to be asking, how much did you give your horse?
Home dropper.
What did you give?
So horses are herbivores. So because they're an herbivore, they actually, how do you say, metastasize? Why am I having a brain fart? Anyway, they metabolize. There we go. They metabolize herbs.
That's
actually
funny.
A lot better than humans do. So with that being said, they actually don't need any more than what we do. So,
okay.
And with a dog, you could give them a little bit, yes, praise the Lord. You could give them a little bit I would put it directly in their mouth, to be honest with you, because if you put it in the water, they might not drink it all. And then it'll do its job. That's what we did. We put it right in his mouth. And that was it.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So with our dog, I've been putting with one bowl, just one snap inside the bowl, and he drinks that in about a day to a day and a half.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's effective or not.
I don't know if I would do that because having the air and being exposed to air could oxidize. So I'm always like that person. So I would actually put it on like a cheese or something, a treat or something.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's good to know. And people ask that all the time, and I actually don't know how to answer it. So it's good. That's good.
I honestly would
I know.
Just put it right in his mouth. I mean, I know the research shows about the bitter receptors being activated, but honestly, animals metabolize stuff like this a lot different than what we do, just because they have different, especially dogs. Think about a dog. They're a carnivore. And so their digestive acids are literally strong enough to break down bones. Yeah. And here's some story for you. I went backpacking on the Appalachian Trail, and I used my dog. If she drank water and puked right away, I knew I wasn't going to touch that water.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a different bacteria block that she won't get horrifically sick. They'll actually spit it up right away if it has E. coli in it. Okay. So that's what I always did there. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of that, Allison. I love hearing the different perspectives and how everybody hears it differently. And every, specialist that has some sort of different training comes on and explains it in such a different way. And I actually think that's probably some of the best ways I've ever heard. I personally have heard it explained so I can understand it, because I'm a really simple girl. Yes. And you explained it in a way that made a lot of sense to me. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and your expertise with us. Do you have any last words you want to share with everybody?
The only thing I can tell you is I dare you to give it a try, honestly. Yeah. I mean, you really don't have anything to lose. The clinical studies show that it works. It's just a matter of time of how it's going to work for you. If you came into this journey with just wanting weight loss, pull up the big girl panties, because something pretty special's coming.
I know, right?